I've got to say, it's a real treat to be here because obviously myself and probably a load of people who watch racing, fans of racing, Old Gold racing members, know your name and know of all the successes, but don't know a huge amount about you. So thank you so much for having us here this morning and being so patient with us, following you around.
Yeah, it's been great.
All morning. But just to go back quite a few steps, tell me how you ended up here in Hereford and when and how you set up training.
Well, where we are now, this is my grandmother's family home on my father's side. So I was brought up in Cornwall and my parents moved up to here, to not this house, but a few miles down the road, sort of when I left school. And my grandmother lived here, died aged 94, I think. And the place had been empty for a few years. But I wanted to train and I was very keen to try and make a training yard out of this. All that existed when I moved here was this house and the courtyard out at the back, which had 6 stables.
That's it?
That was it. That was all that existed. So a large number of the stables are in what was the old walled garden. But that was, where to start and it sort of grew quite quickly from there.
And what year was that roughly?
I started in November 95. But actually my father wanted me to, he didn't really want me to be putting money into turning this into a training yard. He kind of wanted me to go off and rent an existing yard. I was lucky enough when I first started training, or before I started, I got a grant from the Rural Development Commission where they paid 25% of all renovation costs to turn existing buildings into a new business. So I managed to turn 6 stables into sort of 20 in my first season and everything then grew from there.
And where are we at now? What's your numbers?
We have 100 boxes here, so we've got two blocks of 20 in the old, what was the old walled garden. We've got the barn there that takes 40, and the rest are from the original buildings. And
when you were setting out back then, what were your ambitions? Where did you think you might end up?
Do you know, I always aspired to have the sort of yard that Tim Forster had, 45 nice chasers. But we're very lucky in that when I started, things sort of took off really well. So, it was fairly quickly before we galloped ahead of that.
And the idea of setting up training and wanting to train racehorses versus the reality of doing it day to day, were you prepared for that? Has there been anything that's shocked or surprised you?
No, not really, no, because I'd been assistant trainer to John Edwards for a number of years. I'd worked as work rider in Australia and California. So I'd, seen a large part of what the job was, particularly, as I say, when I was with John Edwards. So, I kind of,
well prepared.
Fair idea, yes.
And I kind of hate to ask the question because I get asked it and I never really know what to answer, but as a woman in this sport, have you ever felt at a disadvantage?
Do you know, Francesca, actually it's been an advantage.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, people don't like me to say this because I'm not following the script.
No, say exactly what you want.
But actually, there was the novel aspect of being female, and I'm certain I got more publicity, in those early days, particularly when we were lucky enough to have some of the good horses.
And I always admire you on race day because you always look immaculate. Is that something that's just always been part of who you are? Or do you feel pressured to look very smart on race day?
I'm sure this will resonate with you. We always want to portray the best side of ourselves, if it can be found.
Yeah, I suppose it's how you present yourself, looking professional.
At the ripe old age I am, still on my own, you still always hope that if you portray your best side, some nice guy might come along. But okay. I'm probably slightly given up on that now.
How's it going?
It's not.
Right, so let's talk about your brilliant association pairing with Charlie Deutsch, because that seems to be going really well. How long has that been happening?
I'm not really quite sure, but I think he's probably been here for, is it 5 years probably? Sounds about right. So actually I tried to get Charlie Deutsch to come to me right in the beginning, because his parents have been friends of mine for a long time. But I was a bit slow off the mark, actually, when I made the phone call, knowing that he'd just left school and he'd already signed up to go to Charlie Longston's, who he'd been riding out, I think, there. He trained down the road from his parents, so he'd been riding out there at school. That had a fairly short life, so I was able to get him to come here a year on. And he's been here ever since as very quickly became stable jockey, and it's a happy partnership which I hope will last for a long time.
I imagine it helps having ridden to a very high standard yourself.
Oh, you flatter.
Being able to well communicate, and then also for them to respect what you're saying to them as well, having been there and done it.
Possibly, yes. I certainly think, having ridden myself, but a lot of trainers have ridden.
Not many have ridden in the Grand National.
No, not many have been carted off in an ambulance from Beeches Brook. But I think certainly probably some of our younger staff probably don't even know I rode in the Grand National.
Well, I want to hear that story actually. Beeches Brook, which time?
Sadly, first time round.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I was riding a complete outsider, and it went crash bang at Beeches, and that actually was the last year that Beeches was really the big fence. I think they levelled off the landing side after that, and
this season it's going phenomenally well. So you're battling out 4th position in the trainers' title as we speak with Nigel Twiston.
Yes,
Davis.
I think we're a few shillings apart at the moment, but yeah, no, it's been amazing. It's a number of years since we've been 4th in the trainers' table. I think the last time was obviously the year we won the Grand National, and then back in my early days we were in that area. Now, in a few minutes, and I mean literally just a few minutes, we're going to head off up to the gallops.
Okay, so how many lots in the morning on the whole?
4.
Okay.
And this is first lot.
Starting at, what time does the day start?
Well, they're supposed to pull out at 8. So they're coming up here. This is their steady warm-up at canter. So all the work's done on the far side, and the near side is just for trotting down. So, and we're about halfway here.
I like the loose ones.
One or two youngsters, 1 or 2 retireds, and there's one with having the season off.
Very relaxed.
Yeah.
It's kind of a galop chasse type thing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
they know that the first time up, this is all they could. Even the hard pullers will just be
Lob along.
Lob along, exactly. So we're about halfway here. It's 5 furlongs. Sort of even climb all the way. I think if the gallop's too flat, you've got to do more speed for the effort. If it's too steep, constantly pushing uphill, I think, will leave your horse vulnerable to pelvic stress fractures. And we've got a round gallop, which we've had for 3 seasons.
Thank you so much for letting us invade and giving us so much of your time this morning. It's been brilliant
Not at all.
getting to know you.
It's been fun. It's been fun, and thank you for coming.